Today we're going to talk about a guy who took the phrase spare the rod, spoil the child way too literally. A man so obsessed with spanking misbehaving kids that he basically made it his full-time job. His life is a straight line from selling cane to getting cane, with a scenic detour through courts for obscene publications and a retirement as a math tutor. Strap in or, maybe don't. This is Eric Arthur Wildman. His lifelong dream? Smacking minors, not in a weird way but in a disciplinarian way. Born in 1921, Wildman did a stint in the Merchant Navy, presumably fighting Nazis, and wondered why he wasn't allowed to cane them. After the war, he tried selling razor-stropes, aka leather straps, that peaked in 1850. Shocker, nobody bought them, so he goes, what if instead of shaving chins, we punish sins? Boom. Repurposed them into spanking straps. Suddenly orders flood in from teachers who apparently think Newton's third law was for every bratty action, there is an equal and opposite lashing. He then added rattan canes to the catalogue and the corporal educational supply company is born. Yes, corporal as in corporal punishment. Subtle, like a brick. Wildman's business was literally selling pain. By 1947, this guy was running newspaper ads bragging that he supplied canes over 100 schools. Because nothing says respectable entrepreneur like being the Amazon Prime of ass whipping. A tabloid later reported a national cane shortage. Yes, apparently that was news. Naturally, Wildman saves the day by ramping up production and claiming now he supplies 300 schools in Uganda, Palestine, Persia, and Malaya. How one exports cane to Malaya to a place where the rattan cane literally grows is beyond logic. But Wildman wasn't about logic so much as publicity. Wildman insisted he wasn't in it for the money. He claimed his company was not supposed to be profit-making, and that he even gave free canes to orphanages and such. Because when you think of charity, you think free spanking sticks for the parentless. Perhaps unsurprisingly, he wasn't the most popular guy. You can't exactly win friends when your small talk starts with, so, how many kids do you cane this week? Wildman's dedication was absolute. His home office didn't just look like a spanking supply store, it was one. To drum up business, and because why not cosplay as a Victorian Hogwarts dropout while you're at it, Wildman would parade through London streets wearing a cap and academic gown, carrying a sandwich board with slogans like, is your child out of control? Let me introduce them to consequences. So, in 1948, Parliament's debating whether you should, stop whipping criminals, and right on cue, there's Wildman, standing outside yelling that if Britain quits beating criminals, society will implode, like full apocalypse, dogs marrying cats, kids back talking to their parents, absolute mayhem. By this point, you might be thinking, was this an elaborate fetish thing? Wildman insisted it wasn't. Even Wildman's own lawyer later admitted his client was a man with a kink. So take that as you will. Wildman loved giving lectures about the wonders of corporal punishment. He walked into schools with a briefcase overflowing with pamphlets and an assortment of his finest canes, like a traveling salesman of pain. In 1948, he accepted an invitation to speak at Horsley Hall, a small boarding school in Staffordshire. Now, Horsley Hall bills itself as a self-expression, progressive school, meaning the kids there had never seen a cane before. Unbeknownst to Wildman, Horsley Hall's headmaster, Robert Redbeard Coping, was totally anti-caning and anti-Wildman. Wildman arrived at Horsley Hall eager to convert the masses. He loved publicity, so the presence of reporters didn't faze him. Marching into the study, he shook hands with the press and proudly unpacked his gear. A dozen assorted canes and a few leather straps. Aren't they beautiful? He gooned. He described how his canes were antiseptic, because when you're proposing institutional wallops, the main worry is germs. The Dragon Smoky Malacca he demonstrated was so porous you could blow smoke through it, which supposedly made it bruiseless. How considerate. In Wildman's view, corporal punishment was just common sense. Boys and girls are not always angelic, he lectured the students, and nature provided a place for punishment, i.e. your butt. He jovially admitted that he hasn't yet caned his own 2-year-old daughter, conceding that under age 5 might be a bit young. For about 15 minutes, the kids and staff listened politely. Headmaster Coping played along perfectly. With a straight face, he asked, "Tell me, Mr. Wildman, what is the most suitable cane for a boy 15 or over?" Wildman eagerly whips out his 30-inch dragon cane. Next, Coping inquired instantly, "And how many strokes do you advise?" Wildman didn't miss a beat, 6 of the bats in the place that seemed to have been provided by nature for the purpose. That was the cue. Of a sudden, mayhem. At Coping's signal, about 20 boys sprung from their seats and rushed Wildman. A student snatched the Dragon Malacca cane right out of Wildman's hands. Others grabbed him by the arms and legs. In a blink of an eye, the self-proclaimed king of canes was dragged to the floor, even 6 of the bats on his own posterior. He had 9 visible welt marks on his backside as a souvenir. Headmaster Coping explained, "We only did what you advised as suitable for children." Despite all this, Wildman did not learn his lesson, at least not immediately. He threatened to sue everyone involved, but of course he never actually did. And he certainly didn't abandon his mission. In years after Horsley Hall's incident, Wildman doubled down on his peculiar career. He cranked out pamphlets, booklets, and fortnightly newsletters called The Retentionist. Wildman eagerly published collections of supposed letters from readers about teen discipline, which in reality reads like fetishistic spank fantasies thinly veiled as moral advice. It wasn't long before authorities started eyeing Wildman's educational literatures. In 1953, Wildman's London office was raided by the police. 4 van loads of spanking goodies were carted off. The police found masses of obscene literatures in his file, describing court as obviously pornographic and in no sense scientific. In 1953, he was charged under the Obscene Publication Act for publishing obscene libels. Wildman initially no-showed court like detention was optional. By April, he's in front of the magistrates, well-dressed, vibe set to "I sell whoop wands for education." The evidence says, "You sell weird," and Wildman was fined £500. Beyond the fine, the court ordered all his seized materials, not just the booklets, but photos, drawings, and even tape recordings. What on earth was on that tape record? Actually, never mind, I don't want to know. Even more, Wildman's personal life took a hit. He had an adopted daughter, remember that little girl he boasted he hasn't cane yet? After his conviction, social services removed the child from his care. Apparently, someone decided maybe a dude obsessed with beating misbehaving youths shouldn't be in charge of raising a kid. Wildman finally dialed it down a notch. He ceased publishing any more of his spanking literatures after 1953. The National Society for Retention of CP faded away. But did he repent? Of course not, he kept selling canes and straps via mail order out of his house, quietly supplying the remaining spank-happy teachers of Britain through the 1960s and 70s. Amazingly, Wildman rebranded himself in his later years as a math tutor. Wildman lived out his days in relative obscurity and died in May 1990. His crusade to keep corporal punishment alive turned out to be futile. In 1987, the UK outlawed corporal punishment in state-run schools, and by 1998, it was banned in all private schools too. So what's the takeaway? Perhaps it's, if your life mission is to hit kids, maybe you'll get what's coming to you, possibly delivered by a mob of those same kids. In the words of Headmaster Coping, they only did to Wildman what he himself said was suitable, proving once and for all that getting a taste of your own medicine can be a real pain in the butt.